Hey, coach. So glad you found the video. Make sure you subscribe and like. Make sure you go over and check out teachhoops.com for coaches who want to get better. Let me help you put banners and national rankings and all those things in your gym. Go over and check out teachhoops.com for coaches who want to get better. It's a community of like-minded coaches. We just got off an hour and a half call. Come over and join us, and let's head off to the video.
Got it.
All my family is back in Wisconsin. So,
Okay. Sounds
but
good.
California is my home. Bay Area. What about you?
Nice. I'm in Colorado, Denver metro area, kind of south suburb of Denver.
Okay.
So not, I mean, a good basketball scene, not quite as competitive as California, but we definitely have some good basketball out here, and it's growing, and we're
Yeah.
just, as with everybody, struggling to find court time and facilities to play in. Seems like our club, we have, I don't know what we're up to, probably close to 40 teams, boys, girls,
Wow.
from
Okay.
fourth
That's
grade
huge.
through
Yeah.
17U. So pretty good sized club.
Yeah. Good sized club.
I'm on the younger end for the girls. I coach fourth grade. So I've got a fourth grade girl,
Okay.
sixth grade girl who also plays for the club. I just don't coach her team. And then a third
Mhm.
grade boy who will jump into the club next year. So
Okay.
fun.
Yeah. Okay. So you're coaching and have young kids yourself, and yeah. Okay. Well, we'll dive into the Blitz, but specifically I guess, maybe just tell me where you were struggling, what you didn't
Yeah.
quite understand, and yeah.
So I think the challenge I ran into, I downloaded the PDF,
Yep.
which was, beautiful PDF, but I just got initially a little bit overwhelmed with the number
Okay.
of pages just for a quote unquote simple offense.
Yeah.
I was looking at something that might be simple enough for fourth grade girls to figure out. It seems like
Yeah.
everything I do, I've got to make sure they understand the very basics of it before we
Of
we
course.
elaborate and
Yeah.
jump into the concepts.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to read through that document. I just struggled a little bit trying to get my head wrapped around how to introduce that quickly. And
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm more of a visual learner. So had maybe I gone down a visual path, watching some videos first, as opposed to trying to learn from that PDF, maybe it would have made a little bit more sense. But
Yeah.
that's kind of where I got stuck initially.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll walk through some of those.
Okay.
And again, fourth grade girls, assuming all beginners, right? Just yeah, kind of basic
It's
level of understanding of
crazy. We have a
basketball.
couple of soccer girls on the
Okay.
team who are amazing defenders. They
Mm-hmm.
can't shoot to save their lives, but they
Yeah.
are
Yeah.
quick. They understand spacing. They're really good defenders. I have a couple of girls on the team, my daughter and one other girl who have played for a little while now, and
Mm-hmm.
they're starting to get it. They're better than most that they face. And then, like you said, we have a number of beginners where I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, this round thing is a basketball, and we go from there.
Yeah. Totally get
But
that. Yeah. Yeah. And so I have a club team myself, and we have girls grades third through eighth grade right now.
okay,
And so we teach it at all levels. Obviously, as you're getting into eighth grade, definitely working on more of the reads, and they're obviously picking things up a lot quicker. With the
sure.
young ones, we just work on the base understanding, or the kind of phase one, if you will, of just the dynamics of movement.
Mhm.
And this might help too, a bit of background. We started, I created the offense because I was just so frustrated. Like you, I'd have just a mix of talent on the team. And it always seemed, and I know this is my perception, it always seemed the teams were playing, had the superstars and the shooters, and, people could drive, and you explained the Princeton offense to them in one practice, and they're going to pick it up and just
Mhm.
implement it on the next game, right? It always
Sure.
appeared that way, and I'm like, oh my gosh, am I a bad coach? What why aren't my girls getting this, right? And
Yeah.
and so I'm like, okay, and then I tried various offenses over the years, from four out, one in, a motion offense, circle offense. What else did we try? And those are probably the main ones. Did some horn sets, just trying to like, okay, I need to get everybody involved though. And
Hmm.
what I found with a kind of your traditional kind of motion, read and react is if you didn't give the young players assignments, the weak side became ball watchers.
Hmm.
And the defense, even at a young age, they know like, well, she's not moving. I don't need to really guard her. The ball's on the other side. So why don't I go shade the ball, right?
Hmm.
So I was like, okay, I don't want ball watchers, but I need something very basic so they all have something to do. In addition to that, as you know, and it sounds like you have the same type of team makeup, you'll have a player at the very least that is your best ball handler, can get to the rim with kind of some ease. And then you have some, maybe one girl that's slightly behind her. And then, like you said, this is a basketball and it goes there, right? So you have this huge mix. And I'm thinking, okay, what can we do to solve that problem? Big mix of girls. Some played more than others. Basketball might be their third sport on their list, and right, some who love it. Some are just natural athletes. How do you keep everybody engaged, involved, and something easy to teach for because you have limited gym time? Okay, so I started looking at different options, and the and then also I think the other factor that goes into this is you want to teach them the game, because this is not the only offense they're going to run if they continue with basketball. So you have to teach them basic concepts. Okay, so the way I start teaching this is I literally just start at the very top, very high level. What are
Hmm.
we trying to do? Little ball, big hoop. That Get the little ball in the big hoop. Okay, well, how are we going to do that? Right? Okay, we're going to do that through um, the blitz attack offense. Well, how? Well, we're looking to create triple gaps. How? Well, we're looking to do down screens, and then be patient on the weak side. And if we can do those minor, and then the third thing is obviously ball handoffs. And if we can do those,
Hmm.
right, then you have the base offense. And then everything after that is just reads
Okay.
and or plays. However you kind of want to teach that to young players. They can start looking at reads. They can start looking at like my eighth graders, they're looking at the down screen, and then you open up and we throw a high low, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
Because we can, right? Because we get it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or we're looking at hitting the roller after, or the diver after we do a ball handoff.
Hmm.
Okay. All right. So great. What do you do? And again, I'm talking about as they get older, we do all this stuff, right? What do you do when the defense switches on the down screens? Okay,
Hmm.
well, we teach them how to what to do on that, etc.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah.
but I don't teach that until I don't look at it necessarily by age. I look at it more by what's the ability of the team. I have two fifth grade teams. One,
Hmm.
I can start teaching the reads. The other one is this is a basketball and it goes there, right?
Hmm.
So I'm not, so I look at the ability of the team and want to start implementing things. Okay.
Yeah.
So does that make sense so far?
Yeah, that does. That does.
Okay. And so I just break it down, no matter what offense you're teaching, right? Just break it down into the smallest chunk possible. And then, a lot of the stuff I put into the blitz just kind of helps you do some breakdown drills. It looks at all of those reads, options, inbound plays that go right into the offense, sideline, press, break, all of that stuff. So let
Yeah.
me I'll share my screen here so we can walk through some of this stuff. Let's see, where's the tab? Here we go. All right, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay,
Perfect.
so let's take a look at, and a lot of what I just talked about, is right here. But on the surface, if you just kind of watch this play out. So again, one dribbles out left, right side, doesn't really matter. They
Mhm.
both go set a down screen. And right away, you have a scoring opportunity, potentially, right? Because with that down screen, you're creating this triple gap already. So, I just explained this to my fifth grade team, and visually showed them on my whiteboard. Then I showed them this visual and I said, you have a scoring opportunity right away, bringing up the ball. You don't even have to dribble out of side. If they're doing their down screen, see if you can score. If not, you pull it back out. Great.
Mhm.
Okay. So then basically what you have is, if you just this is kind of just like a high level overview of the one I'm showing you right here, right? They come off, they get the ball hand off. And that's really just kicks off the offense. But
Mhm.
we'll watch the bigger piece here. So you got the two down screens, dribbles out one side, gets the ball hand off, and then let's see if we can attack after the ball hand off. Right? So this next phase, that's what you're really truly looking at. Just drive, roller, you got your filler coming up to the top for an outlet, and then you're back into it by filling, right? If you don't score, passing out, dribbling out, doesn't matter. It's just
Right.
a 5-out, basically a 5-out concept, right?
Mhm.
And then the
Mhm.
continuity starts. Okay, well, let's see if we can do the other side, down screen, ball hand off, right? And again, it's third grade girls, fourth grade girls, yeah, gonna be sloppy. But here's what I found after years of struggle. In a motion offense, you pass the ball to someone. Now
Mhm.
they're like, now what?
Mhm.
Right? Did you go through, 3 different get open moves, right? Do I pass, shoot, or, what do I do? Right. And when I
Yeah.
found it's a lot. Here, they know what their option is. They get a ball handoff, they're trying to go to the basket immediately. That's it, right?
Yeah. Right.
Because at the third grade level, they're not coming off of this ball handoff and shooting a three,
Sure.
right? And we talk a lot about that. It's like, uh, we if you listen to the podcast, you hear me talk about my framework as a team, red dot, and so we're focused on rebounds, efficient scoring, and defense. Where the efficient scoring piece comes in here is, okay, as a team, third grade girls, fourth grade girls, what's the most efficient type of score? A
Mhm.
layup, right? Something in the lane. And then I'm like, okay, but let's say Emery. Well, Emery can shoot from the elbow. Great. Perfect. That's her efficient scoring opportunity, right? She doesn't have to drive in if she gets stopped. Does that make sense so far?
Yeah, that definitely does. What is your trigger or timing for that down screen? So as your point guard's bringing the ball up, do you
Mm-hmm.
tell them to start that down screen at when she hits a certain point on the court or
Yeah, usually by the circle, right? She's
circle?
going to
Okay.
start that. I don't harp on it too much. Sometimes they get it right, sometimes they miss it.
Mhm.
But I think what's important is, let's see, is this the right? This might be the best visual. Okay, so what's really important, and I need to stress this more as well in this documentation, is so you can see ball side, all of this action is happening here.
Mhm.
Okay. If one lifts too early, you just took away the drive in this case for 4.
Mhm.
So I really been pushing patience lately.
Okay.
And I just said, wait, do nothing. And I said, worst case scenario, what's the defense going to do? And they're like, nothing. I'm like, okay, perfect.
Mhm.
Great. That's what we want them to do. We want them to be statues along with you because they don't know what's going on. Right. And then
Sure.
you have a lane to drive in. Now, again, I'm specifically speaking to fourth grade girls, right? Fifth grade girls in this case. As we get older, you still have help occupied in a corner. You may have weak side help coming over, but you still only have one person to beat at
Mhm.
that point, and maybe 2, right? But then you create shooting opportunities for everyone else when that help comes to help. So,
Yeah.
and then we start
Kick
looking at
pass.
those opportunities. Yeah, exactly. So,
Yeah.
yeah. So, literally my fourth and fifth grade girls know this layer right now. That's it. That's all they do. And I
Okay.
said, we don't have a shot clock, right? I'm like, well, I said, how many, when do you know when to shoot? How long can we do this? How many ball handoffs can we do? Right? The answer always is, well, we play tournaments. They're 20-minute halves. I said, great, you have 40 minutes. I said, we only need to score once. All right, I exaggerate, of course, right? But I said, you literally could do this all day until you get the shot you want. Now, of course, again, exaggerating and having fun with them. But so there is no hurry. I said, and so now if you break this all down, I don't spend first day of practice. This is what I did. I implemented the offense. I just showed them. Okay. Now, and of course, we're always constantly working on it. But now I'm showing them, okay, well, how do you set a screen? What's the right way to set a screen? What's the right way to come off of the screen? Right. Then we get into all the details of the little itty bitty pieces that they'll have to learn no matter what offense that they're using. Right. You're working on ball handling, right? You either have to, we're working on finishing moves, and I'm showing them, and it does have all of that in there. The types of finishing moves that you would run into, right? Like the peek and pivot is one of the big ones that you run into because you get stopped in the lane sometimes. Okay. But yeah, that is literally what I teach at the base level to my fourth and fifth grade. I stop right there. Right?
Okay.
That's it. And they're just continually running this pattern. It's not perfect all the time. Sometimes, we've been harping on spacing, right? I'm huge on spacing, right? And, we'll have great example to start the offense. Okay. That's not a good example. Let's see. Maybe I'll just use this one here. Let's say 5 has the ball. One, and the 1 is stuck in this corner. The 1 thinks that they have to run into the lane to try to get open and get the ball. And then all of a sudden you have 4 come into the lane trying to get the ball. And I just tell them, like, we'll play, and I'll freeze them. And I'm like, look where you got, pause, freeze, see where you're at. Do you think we can drive off of this? I said, you literally just built a wall for your own teammate. You just took away their drive.
Right.
And they're quickly getting that concept because I'm freezing all the time, during playtime, and showing them, oh, hey, and I go back to it. What are we trying to create? Triple gap. Okay, perfect. Well, how do we try to kick down screen, right? What's a triple gap look like? 3 passes away is the nearest person. I'm like, perfect. Again, is it this beautiful symphony every time? Nope, it's not.
Right.
And I'm okay with that because learning is not linear, right? It's all over the place, scattered, right? It's like pot of spaghetti sometimes, and players learn at different speeds, and but again, it's the reinforcement, it's the playing. And now I started off that way because meaning when I say that is started off with the offense. I mean, I'm sure you ask the kids what they wanted. What do they want to do? What do you want to do today, kids? How many times do they raise their hand and say, hey, we want to run that one drill where we're running up and down the court and you're teaching us how to do defense? No, right? They want to play. They want to scrimmage. We want to scrimmage. Coach, are we going to scrimmage today? So I just turned my whole practice into a scrimmage, and we're working on dribbling within the scrimmage, and they're getting touches, right? We might go 1-on-1, 2-on-2, 3-on-3, but and we just break this down into little pieces. Like last night we did just this area right here. We had a ball, we had this person dribble over. We had the other person come up. Oops, lost my screen here. We had this other person just come up, did a ball handoff.
Hmm.
got to the basket. Then we hit the roller, right? Then we got around the corner and did a, shot in the lane. Then we got around the corner and did a peek and pivot, right? So we're just learning how to do a ball handoff, how to come off the ball handoff, right? And then all the potential shots you might have within the blitz attack.
Makes sense. We're just kind of teaching it all live, so to speak, but just freezing and teaching points throughout.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I just focus, and then I always come back to the principles of play. Those principles of play are, and when it pertains to this offense in particular, want to create a triple gap. Well, first off, I start at the top. What do we want to do? Principles of play. Little ball, big hoop. How? Right? Create a triple gap. How? Or yeah, I'm sorry, layup, right? How? Triple gap. How? Down screen. How? Ball handoff, right? Okay, perfect. And I'm not hung up right away on, again, this creating this perfect symphony. And, if you don't do it this way, then it's not going to work, because you're just going to end up pulling out your hair, right? Because there's going to be stuff that comes up in a game that they don't understand, that you didn't teach them. But guys, what are we trying to create? Triple gap. Well, how do you do that? Down screen. Okay. Okay, go out and play now, right? You just come back to that. You don't have to say, well, you need to rip through on the ball, right? And then you need to pivot, right? Or when this situation comes up, just shoot. And this situation comes up, just drive.
Hmm.
No, right? It's like, and patience is the big piece. So
Yeah. Yeah.
take your time. That
Patience
making
with the coach
sense?
too, kind of as you roll
Patience
through
with, oh my gosh, patience with the coach too, big time. Absolutely. Right. I mean, I have a lot of parents that stay and watch practice, and, they always come to me and they're like, Coach, I don't know how you have so much patience. Yeah.
it.
And in my head, I'm screaming,
Right.
but, they're learning, and I understand that, and it's not going to be perfect.
Yeah.
So
Well,
is this
that
kind of
definitely
resonating a
helped.
little bit?
Yeah, it's definitely resonating, definitely helping, making more sense. Um, do you have through one of your various platforms or whatever? I saw drills as part of that system. Do you have any
Mhm.
practice plans per se that would help implement this? And I know
Yeah,
you just said that you kind of run that live, but
yeah,
and I try to stay away from too many one-on-0 drills. You've got to
I do
work on some of the
too.
fundamentals of shooting, some of the fundamentals of whatever one-on-0. But I try to always introduce defense in whatever drill we're doing. So they're playing, trying to make a decision out of whatever drill we're doing. But if you have any
Yeah.
practice plans per se that might be appropriate for that fourth grade level, where
Yeah.
we can have a 6 week rotation or a 6 practice rotation kind of thing, open to those suggestions as well.
Okay. Yeah, and it's funny. I was working with my assistant coach yesterday, and I said to her, so we've been doing this about a year now with this particular offense, and I said, something's still missing.
Hmm.
Something's still missing. It just didn't feel right. And I said, the biggest thing that's missing is I'm going to go all in on drills that have the appropriate amount of pressure. So they're always under pressure in a game, like in a game, right?
Hmm.
So what I mean by that is we used to do just I used to treat like circle. We used to get in a big circle around the logo and do stationary dribbling.
Hmm.
And, we would do that for a couple minutes. It wasn't a lot, but we would do it, warm the girls up. They can talk, right? And that was kind of their chatty time, and they talk with one another just as they get to practice. And now what we do is we do one-on-one dribbling, and various ways we do that. Sometimes it's they're pushing against one another as they're dribbling. So they're still standing. And if you could think about two girls that are standing next to one another, um, normally in the previous way we would do it is they would be separated. Now they're literally shoulder to the shoulder, pushing on one another, still in that circle. So that just gives them a little bit of pressure, feeling a body on them while they're dribbling the ball, focusing on that pressure, but also focusing on the ball, which is a little bit more game-like. Or another one we did was they partnered up. There was a person in front of them, a defense, but the defense had their hands on their shoulder and they were pushing them, and the defense was calling out certain dribbles behind the back. I'm sorry, they were calling out numbers, and that's the number of dribble moves that they had to do. Still stationary, but still feeling that pressure. And then if the defense called out four meant you go to the basket and try to score. And then you're playing a little bit of one-on-one. And then obviously it's really quick. They're not sitting there, for 5 minutes calling out numbers. It's because the other girl wants a chance to do it as well, right? So they flip-flop. Then after she tries to score, she scores or doesn't. Then the other girl, they go out to the 3-point line and do it all over again. So just more stuff like that where we're incorporating, a little bit of pressure or competition too, right? I always like to start it off with a little bit of competition. We did this drill yesterday where you can imagine you have two girls at the elbow. One of the two has a ball. Another girl directly under, and I can send this to you, another girl right underneath the basket with a ball. Okay, so to start the drill, what happens is the girl's at the elbow, player with the ball throws to her teammate, that starts it all. They run down opposite court, okay, and they have to shoot a shot at the elbow before the player who's behind them, right underneath the basket, shoots a layup. So does that make sense? Kind of visualizing that a little bit. So that puts pressure on the shooter, puts pressure on the person making the layup, and two people are shooting and one is rebounding for her, the extra person is rebounding for the shooter. And then on the way back, let's say the girl makes a layup first, but the person doing the jump shot is still trying to get the jump shot in. If the girl with who made the layup, she grabs her ball, heads back the other way, that triggers the jump shot girl to come back as well the other way and hit a jump shot at the other basket, coming back to where she started from. So, so they're just fast-paced game where they're competing against one another with some pressure. And I did this at all levels, 3rd through 8th. And they had fun with it, or so give you a sense of that. And then I do the breakdown drills of the Blitz, and then last night, our big thing yesterday was our press and our press break. So we broke those drills all down, doing that kind of stuff. But with the Blitz, that's where I would start if I was you, and that's all I teach as well. The other stuff, you can get into it, as they progress, the basic reads, the drills. You can see the drills here. How do you play against the zone? If you wanted to implement some quick hitters and need a quick basket at a timeout, and then I show you the the inbounds plays and how that goes right into the Blitz, the fast break, etc. Shooting drills,
like the banana Blitz.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. Small-sided games, just some ideas to practice the offense live. The other thing I don't know, maybe you already do this, but like for example, if I told you about this 3-on-3, or you can do this. It was basically 3-on-0. You could do this 3-on-3 as well. This drill where you're just and you can then have the defense score as well. The defense gets points if they get a stop, right? So they get points as well. Or you could just say, okay, you have to score. You're playing 3-on-3, quarter court, you have to score off of X, or you have to score off of a layup. You have to score off of hitting the roller to the basket. You have to, score off. In your case, you wouldn't do this, but the person who's down screening opens up towards the ball, and 5 in this case throws to 3, right? So, then you start setting all of those parameters up, what you want to work on and what you want to focus on, and they're playing, right? They're competing. And then the defense, you could have 3 versus 2. Where I don't put anybody on 5, but I put somebody on 4 and I put somebody on 3. So it's 3 versus 2, right? And just to change it up a little bit. Or yesterday we worked a little bit on I just, hey, be ghost defense, just to be there, feel the presence, but not, and then we just ramp that up throughout practice.
Yeah.
The intensity gets ramped up. But yeah, that's the basics of the offense. Pretty, like I said, layer 1, down screen, ball handoff, be patient on the weak side, and you'd be surprised how much opportunity you create. And it might be, do you run into a lot of zone? Can you do zone in your league?
We can. Fortunately, press is not allowed. Most of the tournaments we play in, press is not allowed, so I'm thrilled about that at this level.
At that age,
but zone is allowed. So we
2-3. What do you usually run into?
Usually 2-3, sometimes a 1-3-1.
Okay. Well, let me show you this. I think it's worth noting.
Yeah, how does that work? That was actually going through my head earlier, so I'm glad you came back to that.
So again, you start in the same alignment, right? 5 out. Here's your 2-3. Okay. This is the beautiful thing about it. It works in both situations. So, and especially at the youth level, because they get a little lazy in the zone, and you actually will get layups off of this. So what we look for here is, again, you do your ball handoff, 1, 2 are following. What happens? Now, I'm going to pause it here. You may not get a score right away off of this. You're not going to create a triple gap right away. But what happens, traditional way of teaching, well, how do you beat a zone? Overload one side, fast passes, penetrate the gap, skip passes, etc. Well, by doing the ball handoffs, what ends up happening is these players are constantly moving back and forth, exactly what you want to do. But you don't have to have a different offense. You don't have to worry about a skip pass, a rainbow pass getting picked off, because you're literally, usually at the youth level, the X1 and X2 aren't attacking the ball. At the older grades, they will. They'll try to trap, which is fine. But it actually creates better opportunities. But when this gets moving side to side, you'll end up seeing gaps like this that you can penetrate. Now, here's the beautiful thing that we work on, even at the younger level. This is actually good. So you saw the movements happening. So in this case, 5 just is going to get the ball handoff. Okay. Remember, I talked about patience. 1 was in their down screen. What they do is they basically seal X3. Now, the simplest version of this is 5 dribbles over, passes to 1 who's sealing X3. They have a layup or an outside shot.
Okay.
That's the basic, level. Now, you can get a little bit more sophisticated, which this does show. You have 1 seals, 4 comes and gets the ball, 3 loops through on the weak side, because X5 is pulled over to get 4. You're going to have a layup that way as well. Okay, but you don't have to. I don't think we even ran this more than a dozen times where you're seeing this action here. What we're seeing big time against a 2-3 zone is 1 being wide open and sealing and getting into, as they get a little bit older, they learn how to seal out 1 to create this angle right here, right? A different angle. But even at the younger guys, they come and sit down screen. And I said, just sit there and wait for the ball to come to you on the weak side, because again, especially, I gotta be careful with my language here, but especially with girls, they do exactly what you want them to do on the court. They'll say,
Mhm.
okay, where am I supposed to stand in the zone? Oh, you're supposed to stand outside the block. Well, that's where there's stand. They don't move from there, right? So
Yeah,
in
yeah.
this particular situation, X3 is literally a statue standing there because that's what she's supposed to do. That's what the coach said, right?
Mhm,
So
mhm.
one can create a seal and get that high-low pass in right there. So
I
that
like that
happens.
concept of sealing or kind of posting up out there in
Yeah,
that short
kind
corner.
of, yeah, exactly. You're just posting up in the short corner, right?
Yeah.
And then if they happen to get for the ball and they again penetrate the gap, and then you get a little bit more, you'd have to see how your players react to that, but it's as
Mhm.
simple as that. And that's what I teach. We do that against a 2-3, a 1-3-1. Um, we did it against a 1-2-2. Um, and really what it comes down to is this ball movement, just back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, the ball handoffs and loosening it up. It works beautifully because you're not doing the skip passes, you're not overloading one side with some sort of other pattern than your own regular offense, right? So you don't have to do two offenses, you have to teach them one.
Mhm.
Um, so
We
yeah,
call those
anyway, that's
rainbow passes push-up passes on our team, because if you throw a rainbow pass, you end up having to do push-ups.
okay. Yeah, I like that. I
So,
like
oh
that.
geez, that was a loud motorcycle went by. Sorry about that.
No worries.
Uh, yeah, it's like a push-up pass, and they got to drop and do 2 or 3 push-ups right then and there.
So this is you might run into this. This is why I drew this up because we started seeing this, and this is more the older 2 and 3, or I'm
Hmm.
sorry, X1 and X2. They
Okay.
would start pushing out the one so we couldn't get around the corner.
Hmm.
Okay. So it's quickly solved by 3 setting their down screen, and 5, right? What is 5 supposed to do? 5 supposed to come up anyway and get the
Hmm.
ball on a ball handoff. So they just came up and sat in this huge triple gap right here, right? And
Yeah, it's a
then
big opportunity right there.
yeah, so we just threw it over the top. You can see here to 5. Uh, or we sometimes we would do that ball handoff high to get the ball to 5, or we would
Hmm.
just throw it back to 5. Then one rolls. I mean, there's so many opportunities off of that. After you distort that zone, you end up having a big gap, or you have some of these players that are sitting here down low open as well. Because what if 5 gets the ball? What are they? They're going to drive or shoot. It's going to pull X5, which then you have 2 and 3 sealing in that same manner. Um,
Okay.
so just some
How
different
strict
kind of
are you
niche.
with position assignments? So do you say, okay, Susie, you're the 1, Sally, you're the 2, so on? I mean, the 1, you've got to assign a point guard, but beyond that, do you just fill spaces, kind of first
I
girls
just
down
fill
the court?
spaces. Yeah.
Okay.
Um, I don't worry about that too much. And the reason is it's like I don't know how they're going to develop, right? And as you know, okay, I got this nice laid out plan, X or 1 through 5, and 1's going to be this, and 2's going to be that, and 3's going to be that, and like, oh, sorry, I can't make it to the game. I'm like, ugh, right? Oh, you're my 5. Who am I? And then substitutions, and it just became more of a hassle at the youth level. And I'm like, you know what? I don't really care about positions. You're all going to learn it, and you all have to learn it. You all should learn it. Do I prefer my better ball handler bringing up the ball in 3rd and 4th grade? 100%.
Hmm.
I gently talk about that because I don't want, oh, coach thinks I can't bring up the ball, or better yet, what it would be, oh, I'm not a ball handler. So I'm just going to be this person that sits down here in the corner.
Sure.
Well, it's not necessarily true. But I want my ball handler to bring the ball, especially if there's pressure.
So with that setup, who would be your preferred inbounder?
Usually what I do with my I look for the biggest, the smartest basketball player, inbounder.
Right.
So if that makes sense, right? She's got to have some basketball IQ, right? Because she's got to know when to get rid of the ball, who to get rid of it to, right?
Yeah.
So, I have a particular girl on my 8th grade team who she just now naturally does it because she's really good at it. She gravitates to it. And I don't say no because, she is really good at it. And she can handle the ball. She happens to be one of the best players on the team. She's tall, athletic. Now, does it mean if she's not in the game, what do I do then? They kind of get some of them will never want to take the ball out. Too much pressure. That's fine. Does that make sense? I really tried to limit the assignments. I don't want to pigeonhole someone. I have girls. I had an 8th grade girl who played for one of the another competitive league, and this made me sad. She comes up to me and she says, "Oh, my coach would never let me do that before." You know what she was trying to do? Shoot.
Oh, wow.
I'm like, you're kidding. And
That's
so
a huge invitation.
and I asked her mom, and she goes, "No, she was encouraged not to shoot." I'm like, "You're playing basketball, aren't we?" Like,
Kind of part of the game.
what are you talking about? Like, but they were a competitive team, and she had a role on that team, and this was 6th and 7th grade, and I'm like, oh, all right. That's why I'm just like, I'm not going to do that, and I don't want to do that. And if I lose every game because I don't make assignments, but they all become basketball players, amen. That's my job. Yeah, my job isn't to get the wins in the record book. My job is to make them better people and better players. So if I can do that, perfect.
100%.
So far, so good.
That's good stuff. That's a blessing.
Yeah. But yeah, anyway, that's the gist. All and emphasize just the basics at that level, going back up to the how, create those triple gaps, get the down screen, do the ball handoff, and just be patient. If you can do that, you teach them a lot. And again, no matter what they're gonna have to learn patience. They're gonna have to learn how to screen, right? And ideally we want triple gaps. So it doesn't happen all the time. Girls know that it doesn't happen. Sometimes we get a double gap. Sometimes we get a one-on-one situation. Sometimes we won't get anything. Sometimes they have a great wall to the ball, and then it will take an outside shot. It's not ideal, but they're kids, and that's what's going to happen. They don't, you only have so much patience, right, Coach?
Yeah, absolutely.
Or their parents are yelling in the stands, shoot.
Oh,
right?
Man. Yeah. Fortunately, at the moment, knock on wood, we've got a pretty good group of parents, and
that's good. Yes, so do I.
We've had moments where, every time the kid does something, the eyes immediately go over to the dad or the mom, and
sure,
they could care less what the coach is saying. They're more focused on, is the dad upset, frustrated?
Yeah.
Did I do this right, Dad? And that's a whole nother discussion, but well, this is great stuff. I would love to be able to repay for this offense so I can get back into it, spend some more time in it. I really appreciate just your integrity, being willing to refund and do this this amazing Zoom session. But I would love to spend some more time with it. It definitely makes more sense now.
Okay, good.
And I think there's some real potential there.
Yeah, and it's one of the things that I've discovered over the, my 20 years of coaching that I'm super excited about, just because, again, everyone is involved. It works at every level, and you can make it as sophisticated as needed, right? And it grows with you. So you can stick with one offense, and as they get better and their IQ improves, you can add another layer. And but the beautiful thing, like now, my 8th grade team has been doing this for a year. We just introduced. Let me show you this real quick. I obviously wouldn't do it at your level, but I just introduced. Let's see, covering up the search on here. No, it's called a grenade. I don't know why it's called a grenade, but that's what it's called. Oops. I can't see it. Oh, there it is. Yeah. So it's a grenade. So it's the thing that I love is now we can start doing these little things. So what happens when the ball goes in the post? I can't score. Well, the post just dribbles out. We do a ball handoff. Then you can see we have a roll opportunity, or she can attack the basket. All right, it's just little things like that, right? That now, when that situation comes up, now I know what to do. We worked on it yesterday. It's like, okay, 4 or 1 reads it and says grenade, right? And then they know what to do. They come together, they do the ball handoff and go. Or I'll call it out of a timeout. Hey, get the ball to the post. How do we get, and then the question was, well, how do you get the girl in the post? I'm like, well, who's ever here or whoever sets that down screen, just go right into the post right after it and we'll get you the ball. Right. I mean, it's just like some simple things that, or, remember I was showing you back on the offense, like we have a lot of opportunities. Sorry to keep you got me going now, coach.
No, this is good stuff. I like it.
This girl right here, the 2 is setting the down screen. So she might just drift over to the post waiting for the 1 to come around. Right. And we do, and then we can just throw it into the post or against a zone, right? We also might run, we might try that against a 1-3-1 zone. So just different opportunities we're looking at to make it really hard to guard. And you don't know what to expect.
Yeah.
No.
It's helpful.
All right, perfect. Well, thank you, Coach. Appreciate your time. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. You can just go to the Blitz Attack Offense. .com to go order it again, and I will share my practice plan with you as well. It's been a work in progress because I've been fine-tuning some things, and I'll keep on fine-tuning over the summer. This because I want more of the constraint-based practices where I'm putting the kids in more of that situation where the more game-like situations with constraints, so I can adjust those constraints by age, by individual, whatever they need to work on and whatever we want to emphasize. So,
and I would love to see that. I would appreciate that. I've got
sure.
a working Google Doc that I keep creating plans, and it seems like some weeks I'm like, oh man, I'm full of ideas. I got all this, and other weeks I'm like, all right, what are we gonna do? It's just a grind to figure out what to do and what to work on. But having some kind of a roadmap would be highly beneficial.
Awesome. All right, Coach. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, Coach. Really appreciate the time. Thanks so much.
No worries, and don't hesitate to reach out. Yeah, anytime you have questions. Okay.
Thank you. Really appreciate that. Yeah. Have a good rest of the day.
All right, you too, Coach.
Right, take care. Thanks again.
Take care. You bet. Bye-bye. Awesome.
Hey, Coach, so glad you enjoyed the video. I hope you enjoyed it a lot. Actually, if you did, subscribe and like, and then go over and check out teachhoops.com for coaches who want to get better.